President Emerson Mnangagwa has been handed a multi-million US dollar helicopter by the Russian government at this year's Russia-Africa summit. Mnangagwa, who received the aircraft on the sidelines of the summit, said Zimbabwe and Russia were both victims of America's foreign policy and hence work together. The aircraft, whose ownership is yet to be ascertained between Zimbabwe and Mnangagwa, comes barely 3 months after donation of a fleet that is meant to serve as ambulances. Zimbabwe has been under sanctions for the past 23 years by the West. We are the same as Russia, which is under sanctions from them, so logically victims of sanctions must cooperate, said Mnangagwa after a brief tour of the helicopter. Putin and Russia were slapped with sanctions for the country's invasion of Ukraine, culminating in a war that has displaced millions with no end in sight. Zimbabwe and Russia have enjoyed cordial relations from the days of his struggle against colonialism. Russia trained both Zwipra and Zanele cadres from Zimbabwe's two revolutionary parties, ZAPU and ZANU-PF. Its recent endearment to Zimbabwe has been interpreted as a first step in the global race for lithium, which Zimbabwe is well endowed with his international re-engagement agenda failing to find takers. Mnangagwa is referred to usual allies Russia, China, and the remainder of the Middle East, alongside Dubai, among other new global heavyweights.
Zimbabwe has been under sanctions for the last 23 years imposed by the West. However, countries like the Russian Federation, which also is under sanctions by the Americans, they are a victim of sanctions. We are a victim of sanctions. So logically, the victims of sanctions must cooperate. So this is the cooperation we are seeing, the victims of American sanctions. They are so grateful. Zimbabwe is surviving as a result of this cooperation, both in agriculture and in the promotion of technology and innovation.